Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for carving out some time to spend with me this evening and allowing me into your home, albeit virtually. Now, this evening, I'm going to be sharing with you some challenges, but also some solutions in an area that I think we should all be conscious of, and that is our health and looking at your health. Now, my name is Zoe Spencer, and unlike other guests that have done this presentation, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a sports therapist, and I'm not a nutritionist. I actually work in hospitality, and I work alongside my husband as a co-founder of a wine bar and restaurant. Now, the solutions I'm going to be sharing with you this evening are solutions to bring back balance to your health, your lifestyle, and reduce your stress. Now, I can offer you plenty of wine to reduce the stress, but the long-term effects are nowhere near as powerful as the solutions I'm going to be sharing with you and the products I'm going to be sharing with you. Now, like I said, I don't have a medical background. I just know hospitality and people. But what I do have as my authority is my experience of using the products and the impact that they've had on me, not only physically, but more importantly for me, mentally. So tonight, this evening, we are talking about health. So I'm going to start off with asking you this question. What do you want your health to look like? Now, this is very personable. It will be very different for everybody at different ages. And if you ask me that today, it's very different from the 20-year-old version of myself that I would give you. You know, there are different areas of our life. Hopefully, when we're young, we have parents that love us enough to give us the nutrition we need. But are you in your 20s, mid 20s? What does health look like for you? Is it something physical? Is it looking good? And as we transition to our 30s, mid 30s, our priorities change. We're now maybe looking at starting a family and the health of bringing a healthy human into this world. And then as we go on to where I'm at, the stage of life that I'm at, I'm in my 50s and I've had my children are growing up, and my health needs have changed as I transition myself into the next stage of my life. Or are you someone in your 60s or 70s looking at retirement and having that ahead and thinking, well, I've lived a good life, but gosh, I've got so much more to give. I've got now the time to go out and really live my life for me. But what does that look like? You want to be looking for vitality and movement. So when I ask that question, what do you want health to look like? It's for you. It's a personable question. How do you want to feel? How do you want to look? And what do you want to be able to do? Now, this all changed for me when I had my first grandchild. My health really refocused. And what hit me home was the time that I took him to an indoor play area. And I struggled, and I shouldn't have struggled. My knee was hurting. I was running up and down, and he was only 2.5, 3. And at that time, I thought, gosh, I'm going to have to really refocus and start looking at my health properly, but in a different aspect, not about how I look on the outside, but really what's happening on the inside. I want to grow old gracefully and with functionability so I can run around with my grandchildren. And so I really decided to show up for myself, but not just for myself, but to be able to show up for those that I love. So when I ask this question, what is it that we can do? Let's look at managing our sleep, having good sleep, deep sleep. It's when we go into that deep state of sleep that our body repairs itself. And it's really important to look at stress. This is something that I will really be paying attention to in 2026. And I did last year. When we think about the life that we want to lead, the life that we want to lead for ourselves, stress can take years off us. It can end our lives prematurely. So looking at how you manage stress is really important to factor. And exercise, guys, we were born to move. Now, whether you love it or loathe it with exercise, it's January. How many of us have joined the gym today? Whether you love it or loathe it, find some way to move, whether that is putting your favorite song and dancing around the kitchen like nobody's watching. Please find a way to move and put your favorite tracks on. So all of those sort of things are things that I can't personally help you with. You're going to have to use your own discipline to make sure you go to sleep on time and get enough hours in and not be scrolling on the phone until God knows what hours in the morning. and the stress levels. It's looking at how do you manage? We live in a stressful world. We can't get away from it. It's how do we manage it? And movement and good food, balancing what's right and what's wrong. Not what's right and what's wrong, but we really do know, don't we, what is good and nutritious for us and what actually isn't serving us. And sometimes our hands are tied, no matter how much we want to eat the right thing, even if we're eating organically. Sometimes our hands are tied and we have to supplement what's missing from our food. Let's talk about the eating right, because at the start of our existence, we were just but one cell that divided into two, then four, then 8, 16, 32, into trillions and trillions of cells. At the core of who we are, our being, are the cell, our cellular health. And I'm going to quote from father of modern medicine, Hippocrates. His famous quote is, "Let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food." There was a statement no truer than that. But I'm going to go a little bit of a sidestep here because I love old movies. I love the movies from the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. I love the nostalgia of it. I love the styling of it. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, so we're coming on here to talk about health. We've mentioned stress and we've mentioned movement and we've mentioned Hippocrates and food. What on earth has that got to do with the 1940s and the 30s? We're looking at this image here. This is the food that they ate. Because one thing I do notice more than anything else when I look at movies from that era, is the size of the waist of the women. It is tiny. And looking at the food here, this is the type of food they would be eating. Mother Nature gave us everything that we need. She gave us full food full of minerals and vitamins and beta glucans and healthy fats. I remember at my nan's table, there was no such thing as low fat. My nan would buy local produce. She would buy her meat from the local butcher. She would buy her vegetables from the local farmer if she could. But what I always remember on my nan's table was butter and milk. There was no margarine and semi-skim milk. It was just the good fats because they weren't afraid of the fats. We need good fats. We need a good balance of omega-3 to omega-6. But fast forward, and this is kind of going post-modern war. This is the start of the Industrial Revolution when we've started to look for convenience. Parents both went to work and supermarkets that weren't, there were no such thing as supermarkets and getting your pre-made meals out of a freezer. But when we look at the food here today, it actually makes my arteries want to shrink. And I'm not saying, look, you can't eat man-made food because we all do. I love a bit of chocolate myself. But what this food offers us is a lack of nutrients and a lack and empty calories. It's absurd. I heard yesterday in the UK, we are now in the UK on the 5th of January on the radio, there has been a new law to pass that bans the advertising of HFSS, that's high fat, high sugar, high salt foods. It is being banned from being advertised between the hours of 5:30 and 9. I find that ridiculously absurd that we have to pass a law to ban food that is actually harming us instead of dealing with the problem at the heart. Then we look at this food here. It is designed in the factory. It is made to be addictive. It is actually quite cheap to purchase, and it lacks everything, and it puts us completely out of balance. So when we think about eating right, the nutritious food is completely shifted us, and the cause in the high omega-6 and the not enough omega-3 has caused an imbalance. And when you think about diabetes, increase in diabetes. There wasn't, in the years I was telling you about, sort of the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s, that wasn't so prevalent. Diabetes, heart disease, skin conditions, and something that's really, really close to my heart, mental unbalance, mental wellness was not so prominent. Now, I know that we live in a modern world. We live in a fast-paced world, a very stressful world, a world where, like we are today, we're here online, but we can't blame all of that on mental instability. We have to take accountability for what we are putting into our bodies. You know, when you think about the generations and the food that we eat, actually, it wasn't designed. We weren't designed to eat half the food that we do consume. And you think of the generations to come, what chemical imbalance and what changes are happening by eating this processed food. And supplements, there is such a vast industry out there. Now, I talked about before about having to supplement the food that we take because what we get, even if we buy organic, the fields are not as nutritious as they were. They're over farmed. So, although sometimes we want to do the best we can, our hands are tied and we have to look at supplementation. But this image here just shows you there are so many choices. Now, this for me just puts me into complete overwhelm. And I shop at Marks and Spencer's. Now, some people might say, well, oh, that's a bit bougie shopping at Marks and Spencer's. But it's not bougie at all. I shop at Marks and Spencer's because of its simplicity. I like the simplicity and the non-overwhelm because if I go and get a jam, I get two choices of jam, if that. I'm not forced and faced with an array of options. And when you look at this image here, this aisle, this is just supplements. So, where do we actually start? Because do we go for something that is aesthetically pleasing? Are we attracted to the color? In this image here, the color purple keeps popping up at me and my eye is drawn to that. It's the same with wine. Like if I have a shelf full of 14 bottles of Malbec, I'm actually going to choose the one with the prettiest bottle without knowing exactly what I'm getting inside. And if you're in the UK, there are certain brands shops that will sell you buy one, get one for a penny. Now, in my 20s and 30s, going there to get supplements or diet pills or wherever I was on at the time, I thought that's great, my purse string. But now I'm educated. And actually, when I look at that offer of buy one, get the second for a penny, it's completely devalued what they are trying to sell to me. And I'm thinking, what is it that you are asking me to put in my body that you value at a penny? But when we are looked and we are faced with all of this rows and rows of supplements, are we just wasting our time? Are we just picking and just hoping that one of them is going to work? But what if you could check? What if you had that aisle of supplementation and each one had a test? It could test is it something your body needs? Because when you look at some of the multivitamins there, not everything is there that you need, but yet we are just drawn to taking any old pill. But what if you could test instead of guess? And this really brings me to what is at the base and the core of Zinzino. We test, we don't guess. And as you can see here, there are several tests here. We have a vitamin D test and a HABC1 test. But what's at the core of our business is the balance test. Now, remember what I said to you before about cellular health. And we all started off with one cell, and we are made of trillion cells. And if those cells are out of balance, that could be at the root of a lot of illness and disease. And what's fantastic about this is that it's designed for you to take at home. Now, we all know what it's like in the UK to try and get a doctor's appointment. You often go to the counter, ask there face to face with a human being to make an appointment, and they send you home and tell you to do it online. Well, that's the beauty of this one, that the product is actually sent to your home and you do it at home. Everything is done anonymously and double blinded. And we have tested for the balance test over 1.5 million people across the whole globe. Now, we use Vitas Analytical Services. They are top in their field at evaluating essential fatty acids, and they are not on our payroll. They are a partner with us. And they also partner with other places like Harvard University and Cambridge University. So they are somebody that you can really trust. And also for you, if you're watching in the UK, the Zoe app. They didn't steal my name, but it's a great name. So we want you to meet our test-based nutrition solution. So I've said to you that I was going to give you some challenges, talk to you about the challenges that we all face in our health at different stages of our health. But I didn't want to just bore you about the challenges that we have, and some of you may know them. and then leave you hanging and thinking, so Google it, ChatGPT it. No, we're here to show you some solutions. I want to introduce you to the health protocol. Now, the health protocol is an evidence-based solution for you. It's a cornerstone for 4 major areas that we will be looking at this evening. And I want to start off with cellular health. Now, this first image here is a source of omega-3. Like I told you before, like at my nan's table, good fats. We're not afraid of fats. Our bodies need essential fatty acids. We can't survive without them. And what I find incredible is, although they are essential, we don't make them ourselves, so we have to get them from our foods. There are two main essential fatty acids, omega-6, which is from the image that I showed you, the man-made food, and omega-3, which is shown here with the salmon, the nuts, the hemp seeds, the walnuts and olives. Now, again, they both have their role to play. Omega-6 is necessary for inflammation. It causes inflammation in our body. And when we need to repair, very simply, when you make a cut on the back of your hand and it goes hot around the scar and it's heated and it's prickly, and that's inflammation. That's perfectly natural and is absolutely necessary for your bodies to repair. The problem comes is it's not meant to last forever. And the omega-3 role is to come in and douse the flame. So omega-6 in short is the inflammation and the flame, and the omega-3 comes and douses it off. There's a light switch that goes on and off. The problem and the challenge that we are facing is that our cells are so out of balance that we go into chronic inflammation, silent chronic inflammation. So it's happening, but you don't realize it's happening. And it's at the core and the start of many illnesses and disease and heart issues and skin issues. It's this chronic inflammation. So with this in mind, this is a challenge that we have. And what I'm going to show to you now is a very short video that is going to help us and describe and explain to you, although we have the challenge, there is a solution. So let me take you to our balanced solution.
6.3 billion people are not getting enough omega-3s, and almost all of us get too much omega-6. The world is out of balance. This may affect normal physical and mental functions related to heart, brain, and eyes, which could offset abnormal inflammatory and immunological responses. A simple blood test will reveal whether you're good to go or if it's time to act. How do we get omega-3? Omega-3 is an essential fatty acid that our body cannot create on its own. It's most naturally formed in the tissue of oily fish and algae. We need to get our omega-3s from the food we eat, or by taking supplements with fish oil. Sounds simple? To reap the health benefits, adults need about 2 grams of EPA and DHA daily. It might not seem like a lot, but do you eat at least 1 serving of sardines, anchovies, mackerel, salmon, shellfish, flax seeds, or walnuts on a daily basis? Yes? Then you're getting enough of the omegas, but the authorities will now also tell you that you're at risk of digesting too many environmental contaminants. No? If your answer is no, then you are most likely one of the 6.3 billion with a deficit. It's a catch-22. What about omega-3 supplements? We will answer that in 58 seconds. The truth is, most of us don't eat that much fish. We do, however, eat lots of meat, chicken, rice, sweets, and ultra-processed foods. This is how we end up with too much omega-6s and not enough omega-3s in our bodies. It's an unfortunate fact, but 97% of us are not able to strike a balance between these essential fatty acids to keep our health in check. Would you like to take our balance test and take charge of your diet and health? Antioxidants are omega-3's best friends. Here's a close-up look of a cell in our body. Antioxidants protect the essential fatty acids in both the bottle and the body. They ensure the omega-3s stay fresh and potent, and they will keep the cell membranes flexible to absorb the nutrients in the food. But not just any antioxidants will get the job done. Polyphenols are the game changer. This is a fact often overlooked by the fish oil industry. These natural antioxidants are commonly found in seafood, nuts, and seeds. Polyphenols are powerful micronutrients working in synergy with the omega-3s to slow down oxidation and optimize absorption. They make sure the omega-3 nutrients are properly absorbed in order to offer long-term health benefits to your body. Is it safe to take a high dosage of omega-3s? Yes, the refining process will rid the fish oil of virtually all mercury and PCBs. Unfortunately, this process also washes out the natural polyphenols in the oil. This is why most modern omega-3 supplements have little effect in the body. It puts our Balance Oil Plus in a league of its own. Our synergistic formula brings the magic of polyphenols and omega-3s back together. This is a revolution in omega-3 supplements. Polyphenols from pre-harvest olives are the plant-based equivalent to the antioxidants naturally found in seafood. Our supplement is actually closer to oily fish than fish oil. We've captured a true force of nature. All you have to do is put our product to the test, literally. The Zinzino Balance Test is at the heart of our balance concept, a personalized, scientific dried blood spot test that reveals whether your current omega-6-3 ratio is out of balance. You take the test before you start using our Balance Oil Plus, and then again after 120 days. This way, you get to see for yourself if your essential fatty acid levels have been restored. And we get to prove that our supplements really work. This is the start of every health journey and the foundation of our dynamic, test-based nutrition strategy. We've performed about 1 million tests worldwide, and our growing database shows that 97% were out of balance. Every single person whose life is brought back into balance with our polyphenol omega food supplement is the ultimate proof of our balance concept. Let's take the guesswork out of a healthier way of living from the pioneers of test-based, personalized nutrition. Zinzino. Inspire change in life.
Now, this is a great starting point, and I'm not asking you to just trust me or, trust the great marketing. This is why we brought the test into play. Now, I did say to you there were 4 areas. Now, this is a second area. Your gut health is vital for wellness. Now, you maybe heard that your gut is your second brain, and we've all heard of the gut-brain axis. And it's an area that really I didn't pay much attention to. And for those that aren't regular on the toilet, then, perhaps the most natural thing to do is to go every day. But I didn't really start investigating this too much until last year. Now, I've mentioned, and I will mention many times, about mental health. And I wasn't aware that 90% of your serotonin is made in your gut. The gut is the center of the human universe. And so when it's out of kilt and it's out of balance, it can really affect wholeheartedly the whole functioning of our body alongside with the cells. So again, there is a video here that I'm going to share with you that is giving you the issue now with the gut health. And I'm going to share with you the video to show you how you can restore your healthy gut.
Did you know that 90% of us are not getting enough fiber in our diet? This can lead to digestive problems and inflammation. Is your diet healthy? Listen to your gut. Your gut is the center of the body's universe, constantly communicating with the rest of your organs. It's called our second brain for a reason, and here's why you should pay attention. When your gut is in shape, your whole body benefits. But it's a balancing act. The gut microbiome contains 100 trillion bacteria, good and bad. Having a mix of both is perfectly normal, but too much bad bacteria can cause inflammation, drain your energy, and weaken your immune system. The good bacteria known as probiotics, help you digest the food nutrients, quiet inflammation, and shape your immune system. To keep your gut balanced, you need to nourish the good bacteria. But how? With fibers called prebiotics. Good bacteria thrive on fibers and break them down into nutrients that help build your body. Most diets and conventional fiber supplements are ineffective because they don't include a complete fiber profile. Zinobiotic is a tailored blend of 8 natural sources of time-released prebiotic fibers, beta-glucans, 3 resistant starches, 2 sources of chicory root, psyllium husk, and guar gum fiber. Together, they keep the microbiome diversified by nourishing the bacteria throughout your intestines to benefit the whole gut. This all-natural prebiotic fiber blend promotes the growth of good bacteria, supports healthy bowel functions, helps reduce blood sugar spikes, and helps maintain good cholesterol levels. Zinobiotic is certified by Informed Sport and the Vegan Society, with 8 natural ingredients that offer health benefits approved by the EU and assessed by the EFSA. Now you know the basics of why it's essential to listen to your gut if you want to keep it healthy. From the pioneers of test-based, personalized nutrition, Zinzino, inspire change in life.
And what was really, really exciting for us in 2025 is we released the first dry blood spot gut test that the company have been working on for 6 years, and they launched it last year. It was like sending a spaceman to the moon. So there are 2 significant areas, categories that we have talked about. We've talked about supplementing your gut with good fibers, and we've talked about looking at your omega balance and getting your cells into balance. And really, the health protocol is a trinity. And the third in that trinity is looking at our immune system and supporting and nourishing our body. Now, when we look at the earlier image, the man-made foods that are so high in calories, but empty calories, lacking in nutrients, it's not like we have a lack of food. In fact, we probably have too much food, an abundance of food. But as a society, we're malnutritioned. And when you think about that word, the years from almost 6 years coming out now from the COVID years, where our immune system was under attack, it's really made us look at health differently. And I'm going to show you another short video. This is a solution. So again, I hope you're understanding that while we have challenges in the world and with our diet and our health, we are here to offer you the solution. So let's have a look at the solution for your immune system. Well, I don't know if that video is working or not. We just try one more time. But this is great. This is when we know it's actually live, isn't it? We do have a solution for the immune system, and it is a multivitamin, but it's designed with beta glucans, and it's to release in time. And there's a thing called a snatch and grab. Now, with other multivitamins that you have on the market, they'll snatch and then they'll dissipate and wash out what they think you don't need instead of your body getting the full nutrients from them. But now I know I said the health protocol is a trinity, and really, for me, the next product is something that is deep to my and close to my heart, and what actually got me involved in Zinzino in the beginning, because it was something that I really needed, and it was the stress levels that I was going under. Now, they call this the spa for the mind. It's a product called Viva, and I call it the butter knife. Now, the reason I call it the butter knife, now, I don't know if I mentioned, but my husband is a chef. And, he always cooks from fresh. And in our kitchen right now, it's just had Christmas and his knives are sharp. So I think of stress, when you think of stress, is that really sharp carving knife. It can be really painful and it can cut deep. And what Viva does for me is it doesn't remove the knife, because we can't always remove the stress from our lives. What it does is it softens it and it rounds it and it turns that stress into a butter knife, so that whatever challenges are thrown at me, I'm able to deal with them so much better. It's an adaptogen as well. So if we take it during the day in the morning, it lifts us up and gives us energy. But if we take it at night, it helps us sleep, but it helps us get into that deeper level of sleep where our body needs to repair. It is the most wonderful product for me. And it's a product that I have in my kitchen. So in my kitchen, I have an area with all my supplements in the morning. I have it there. I have it in my bed, next to my bed. I have it in my office. I have it in the restaurant, and I have it in my handbag. So I am never without my cream, the Viva. So please, let's hope this video works. Let me show you our solution to your mental stress and mental wellness, and it's Viva.
Hectic life, tons to do, and too many quick meals on the go? It can be a vicious circle that steals precious hours of sleep at night. You're not alone. Today, up to 70 million people have trouble sleeping. Our brain depends on essential nutrients from food to function properly. Everyday stress and a poor diet may influence not only our sleep, but also our memory and ability to concentrate. That's a natural explanation. And there's a natural solution: saffron. The world's most exclusive spice, but its most precious value is how it makes us feel. Since the 11th century, saffron has been recognized as a powerful, natural enhancement of overall well-being. Meet Viva, an all-natural restore food supplement certified by the Vegan Society and Informed Sport, with exclusive, carefully sourced ingredients approved by the EU and assessed by the European Food Safety Authority. Affron, a patented and clinically proven extract of pure premium saffron stigmas. Magnesium from seawater supports normal functioning of the nervous system. Iodine, a mineral that contributes to normal cognitive functions. And vitamin C from acerola berries helps to relieve tiredness and stress. Improve mood, relieve stress, and increase well-being. Viva, a spa for the mind when you're down, worn out, or in need of a good night's sleep. From the pioneers of test-based personalized nutrition.
So there we have it. Those are the four cornerstones of what we call the health protocol, and they all work in synergy together. Now, my story was when I took the test, I was actually quite surprised that I wasn't higher than I was. Maybe because I live with a chef who cooks food from real food and from scratch. So when I took my test, my results came in at 12.6 to 1. So that is just below the average, the national average of 15 to 1. And again, I went on to the products because I took the test and it said I was out of balance. And then I took that, and then 120 days later, because that's how long it takes for your cells to regenerate, I was in balance, 2.9 to 1. Unfortunately, and this is only my personal story, I didn't feel like so much of a change in me. Yes, I had the evidence. So what happened was that I would often miss my oil and I wouldn't take things that seriously. And that was until beginning of 2025. So my husband would say to me, but yeah, but don't you feel the aches and pains and aren't you feeling different? And I said, honestly, Fitz, I'm taking the products, but I don't feel any different other than the Viva. So I wasn't consistent. And consistency is everything when it comes to our health. Now, this all came to the forefront in beginning of 25 when I have a very good friend of mine. And when we talk, because we don't live close, we'll often FaceTime. She's very intuitive. And 4 times it happened that we would have our FaceTime, but immediately she would say to me, Zoe, stop talking. Have you taken your supplements? And without fail, every time this happened, it was at a period of my time when my mood had been low. And I've suffered from mental health since the age of 13, and often, go down in my cave and would switch off from the world and didn't want to deal with the world. And it can be really debilitating and often quite hard to live with. But this happened 4 times. And then I suddenly realized the penny had dropped. It clicked that every time I didn't take my supplements was a time when my mood would go down. So I decided on the 1st of March to put this to the test. I've already got the scientific test, but I put this to the test and decided that I was going to be religious in taking my whole health protocol every single day. And I started a video. And I videoed my journey for 6-7 months. And I can honestly say, hand on heart on this slide, that in those 6-7 months, I didn't have a dip. So for me, that's my personal story, that yes, I had the scientific evidence that said you need to be in balance and this product is going to help you. And it did, it put me in balance. And then I was able to listen to my body to understand what was really happening. And only when I stopped taking the products did I suddenly realize that it was having that effect on me. So, where do we go from here? How will you start your wellness journey? Now, we all love a good sale, don't we? And it's January. The January is the sales are on. So, for you to start your health journey, I would say become a premier customer, a subscribing premier customer. Now, that is somebody that sets up a subscription because you're going to get the best price, the best value. When you set up a monthly subscription, you'll get significant discounts on other Zinzino products, and you'll receive a money back guarantee, which that means is that when you take your test, if your results come back that actually you're in balance, you'll get your money back because you actually don't need what we have to offer. Now, this comes in two tiers, and I'm sorry to say that I actually didn't, well, I'm happy to say I didn't actually know about this until 3 years later. So we have a customer rewards program. Now, essentially, this is an 8 month long period because the first month you get your purchase your kit, and then you have 6 month subscriptions. What happens in those 6 months every month is the company will put the shipping costs into your back office as in, think about it as cash back. We call it Zeno cash, which means at the end of that 6 months, it accrues and then you can use that for other products. And then when you get to your 7th month, because by now I hope you would have felt the benefits and decided that actually you are worth it, that you're going to invest in you, invest in your future self, invest in your family. So not only by the 7th month are you getting your shipping costs in your back office as cashback, but you're also going to get 10% of your order. So this is our customer rewards program. And can you imagine 3 years I went to town and did a lot of shopping. I bought serum and I bought collagen. It was fantastic. So this is our loyalty reward program here. Now, what do you need to do now? What is the next step for you? I think really, thank you for the time you spent with me this evening, but it's to go back to that question, what does health look like? What does health feel like for you? Really delve in deep. Now, you've obviously been invited to watch this presentation by someone that cares about you enough. So I would go back to them and schedule some time to discuss the steps. Now, this has been a whistle-stop tour. Now, that person that's invited you can delve deeper into each product that we have and look at the different areas of life that you need support in. So it's to go back, set up that Premier subscription, because that's when you're going to get the best value. That you can buy the products individually, but you will pay full price. And if for me personally, if someone came and said, I'm just going to try the bottle for a month, I said, don't waste your money because you're not going to see the benefits in just 1 month. By all means, come and taste the oil. I've got a bottle open in the fridge. Come and taste the oil if it's just the taste you want, but don't bother with just getting one bottle. Viva, maybe. Now, Viva is a product I would say, yes, go now, get that packet and try it just for once. But for the best option is to set up your subscription and test. Don't guess. Now, your test is not compulsory, but why would you not take it? And I hope you've enjoyed this evening. I thank you for the time that you've taken and carved out to spend and listening to me. And what I would love for you is you and invest in yourself, for you to think about the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years ahead. How do you want your life to be? How do you want your body to function? Do you want our support? I really enjoy talking to you this evening. Thank you for being with me. And I really hope that you start your wellness journey today.